Hello everybody, in this video I show you how to display statistical data in maps. We want to color different areas of maps depending on our data. The tool for this is called Folium, which is a library, a module in Python, which we first have to install. So let's type in we use Jupyter Notebooks, type in pip install Folium, and we run this, and now we have to wait a few seconds, and then we have our Folium installed. So now let's restart the kernel, otherwise we might not be able to use it. And we can cut this now, and you only have to do this once and then you're done, and now we can write our program. So the data I want to display is the life expectancy in the whole world, and I want to color the world map depending on how old people get. So we start our program by importing the modules we need. So import, and the module we just installed was Folium. This is the module for the maps. And we also need a module to handle the data, and we use pandas as PD. Now we need to get map, and the map types Folium uses are called GeoJSON types. Those are files you can download for free for all types of maps you need, and we want the whole world map. So then you have to Google and look where do you find the whole world map as a GeoJSON type, and this is what I found. So first of all, I need to save this in a local variable. I say my map, and I didn't even download this. I just say where it is, the URL for it. There's no need to download it locally. So that's where we find the maps under the GeoJSON URL. And again, that's where you'll find a lot more. And then also I need to say what data I want to use. So get data. So I downloaded a CSV file from the World Bank with life expectancies. I've done that before. And this one I did download locally, my data, and now I show you where I downloaded this. And I post all the files. So this is my Jupyter Notebook, and this is my data file in the same folder, and this makes it easier to open this file. So let's have a look at the file I downloaded, and then we can already start cleaning it up a little bit. So this is how the file looks like. So we have all the countries here. This column is called country name, so we will use that later. Then we have a country code and some other stuff, and then we have for each year the life expectancy data. So let's see what is our last year, because that's what I want to plot. So I want to plot this column later, the life expectancy in year 2021. So now what we do first, before even loading it into Python, I see this will make a problem, those empty rows. So I delete this, delete rows, and this already looks a lot better. And then I save this file, but I do save it under a new file name in order to not mess my original file up in case something goes wrong. So I can close it here, and the file where I deleted the first 4 rows, I renamed life expectancy. So that file name, I copy this already, And now we type that in my data, and that's what I need, the pandas. So pd dot, and then I use the read CSV method, and here's my file name from before, dot CSV. So now I have the map and the data, and now I have to combine them inside my Folium map. So let's create the map, and I first have to create the map object, which I call m for map. So Folium dot map. That's how I create my map object. Okay, now I was talking about to create these different coloring areas in my map, and this type of maps are called choropleths. So now I need to call the choropleth method from Folium. Folium choropleth. And up here you see the link to the whole manual or documentation of Folium, and that's where you find what possible parameters I can use, or some I have to use for my choropleth method. So at first I need to say, what's my geo data? And that's why I stored this in my map. That is the first parameter. And then the next parameter, okay, what data? Data, and I use my data. Okay, and then when you remember the CSV file, my data here is stored in a pandas data frame, but I have all the columns from the CSV file in there. And I only wanted the last year. And of course, I need the first column with the country name. So I need to say what columns are my data in that data frame. Columns, country name, and the other column I wanted was the year 2021. Okay, this is it. And now I need to say what is my key, and I want the country, and then I need to know in my JSON, so the key parameter is called key on, and then you have to know, okay, how do I find that name in this GeoJSON file? And this is how I get this. It's feature.properties.name, and now the method I call this, I add to my map object n. So now I have added my coloring areas into my map, and let's show our map and see how it looks. Okay, typo, and there it is. So here's my map. All my data it could find is now displayed. By default, it uses this blue scale here, so the older people get the darker blue, that is. And so the gray areas here, this is where there are no data. This can have two reasons. There could be no data in my Excel data sheet, or it uses a different name, and then since that's my key, it doesn't find it, and so there's no data to display. So I have Russia, Venezuela, and then even some European countries where the names don't fit. So let's now go into our Excel file and fix those names, that the names in the Excel file match the names in our GeoJSON file. Okay, there's one problem though. We don't know the names in the GeoJSON file. So let's make another block here. Find names in our GeoJSON file. Find country names in GeoJSON file. So that's what we need to do. And then we can look up those names, and then hopefully there's just small difference in like the spelling, or sometimes a country that has some like Republic of included there, or Islamic Republic or something like that. Or so this is what I entered in ChatGPT because I wanted ChatGPT to write me that code. Okay, find me those names in my GeoJSON file. And this is what ChatGPT told me to do. So here's my GeoJSON file. And it also told me to use GeoPandas. So that's another module I have to install. We need to add another block. Pip install GeoPandas. Run. We have to wait. Once this is done, it can be slow because I have not run this here on this computer before. Once we have that installed, then we can run this code block. Here it iterates through all the lines in our GeoJSON file, and then it prints out like country like it goes line by line and prints out the country and just the name. Once we have that list, the names, we added all the names in the Excel file in order to get rid of these unmatched countries where it couldn't look up the country because the name is slightly different. Turkey, Iran, Egypt, they're all a little bit different. Okay, there it is. So GeoPandas is installed, and now we can run this. So let's delete this. Or we might have to restart the kernel again. Restart kernel in order to use this. And now let's run this code just to get the country names in the GeoJSON file. There it is. It's kind of slow also. So here are all the countries, the spelling in that JSON file, GeoJSON file, and we just, because it's a lot easier, we added the Excel file with those names. So we see here, let's look at Egypt. So we have Egypt here. Let's see how that's spelled. Egypt, just this. And let's also look at Russia as two examples only. So here's Iran, we can edit that too. So let's remember Egypt, Iran, and now Russia. Here is Russia. So those three for now, well, we can edit. So we open our Excel file and edit the names. Here we see why it wouldn't show. This is not just Egypt. It has some additional stuff behind it, like Republic or so. So we change that, and then let's go to Iran. Iran also, it says Islamic Republic, but in the GeoJSON file it just says Iran. So let's erase that. And Now we said Russia, we want to edit that too. So here it says Russian Federation or something like I just had, but we only want Russia. Okay, now we save this. And of course, there were a few more countries, so you would have to really go country by country, edit that name. And then we can go back and let's redo our map here. So right now we see this is gray, Iran is gray, and Egypt, we fixed those three. And of course, we should fix all of them, but for this tutorial, that's enough. So I didn't change any name of the file. So if we rerun this code, this map should be fixed. Let's run again our program. And there it is. So now we see Russia is no longer gray. It's now has a color depending on the life expectancy here. And we can get rid of all gray here on the map and show the actual data. We just have to make the country name match in both files. So now it's all blue, so maybe we want like different colors, and then you really can check out different color options here in this manual here. And I'll just add kind of what I like for this map, and already prepared this here. And so I changed the color scheme. And also what you see here is the missing data is gray, and I don't want this to pop out as like this means like almost shows like, wow, this is super important. It's great to find those, but here later I say, no, if I just want to show data, I want this to not kind of pop out so much. So here's the not a number fill color is white. And here's my new color scheme. And also here is, that's kind of a nice thing, highlight true. When you go with the mouse over it, it just highlights that country. Let's rerun that code. And now this is how this map looks like. And we can also save this as an HTML file. And then we have an interactive map saved in an HTML. So for this Folium map, we have the method save. And that's kind of nice. You can embed this in websites or just hand over this document. It's something different than just a one fixed map, printed out map. You can still print it out, but here you have just more options also to zoom in. And we call this life expectancy Choropleth .html. We run this one more time, and then we have our file saved.